Alright guys, welcome to part 2. In this video I'm gonna go ahead and explain how to turn this high poly fire hydrant into a game ready asset. Now before I'm gonna do anything, I want to go over the changes I did off camera. Now the first change is that I replaced the support loops with a chamfer. You can find chamfer over here. Now I chamfered it until it looked pretty smooth. Something like this would do. The next thing I did was to just copy this piece over here to here. Now this is pretty much all I did off camera, and if you followed my tutorial exactly, please go ahead and do these changes as well, and then come back so we can go over the low poly. Now there are a lot of ways to do a low poly version. The most common one is to just take the support loops and the loops that don't really contribute to the shape and just select them by double clicking. And then just go ahead and press Ctrl and backspace like this. Now this will get rid of all the support loops we had and these loops that don't really contribute to the shape. Now I could do this for everything over here, but I'm not going to do it that way. Reason for that is that when I started this cylinder body, I used 32 sides and I used 24 over here I think, and 16 over here. So this is pretty much too much geometry for such a simple object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually retopologize it differently. Now I'm going to hide unselected to just reveal this. Then I'm going to actually go ahead and select the crown over here, deselect it, do the same thing over here as well, deselect the crown, and then I'm just going to hit detach. I'm going to name it temp for temporarily, like this. Alright, now I'm going to actually hide unselected again. So now we can actually work with this. Now I'm going to actually start with a 32-sided again. So I'm actually going to try to get the center. So just go ahead and drag it out. And just roughly match it. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. Okay, like something like this, maybe a bit like this. Okay, now this is, as you can see, aligning with the cylinder I had before. So now I can actually go ahead and change the sides to 24. So now I'm actually using a 24-sided cylinder. I'm going to convert it into an editable poly. I'm going to get rid of these faces over here. I'm going to actually press F3 for this wireframe mode, and I'm going to drag this border to here. I'm going to select this border. And since I turned off turbo smooth on this, I can actually follow the shape pretty accurately. So you can actually zoom in to make sure it's aligning. Then you can just drag it out. Something like this is okay. Do the same here. Okay. And last but not least, this one. Okay, and now just drag it down like this. Alright, pretty good. Now we have to do these cylinders over here. So I'm actually going to start with a 24-sided again. So same principle, 24-sided to have the same shape pretty much, like this. Move it out. Okay. looks good. Then I'm gonna leave it like that for now, and I'm gonna go to the left viewport and do the same for this cap as well. So I believe I use 16, so I'm gonna use 16 over here as well. And I'm using quite high poly count anyway, because you know, when you have a very low poly count, you get some ugly jaggedness in the normal map, and this is not what we want. So this is why I like to keep it a bit, you know, I like to keep the shapes a bit just a second. I like to keep the shapes a bit pronounced and not, you know, jaggy and all this stuff. So they should look like a cylinder, because from afar this looks pretty much like a cylinder, whereas in, let's say, in 12-sided, it starts to look really, you know, like blocky, and this is not what I actually want, especially not with the current generation. Okay, now I'm actually gonna hide on. Just a second. Hide selection. I want to hide this piece I used as my reference, and I'm gonna actually have to match it as well. So I'm just gonna go down. Okay, 20-sided looks good over here. What about this? And actually I want to keep 16 sides over here, so I'm gonna actually keep it like this, really. Okay, so I'm going to go to the main body. I'm going to actually go to compound objects, Boolean, press this button and just start clicking. Now go to this tab over here and just you know, get rid of the ugly overlapping pieces, like so. And now I want to actually get rid of the caps. And next thing is I want to get rid of the half, so I can just work on one side. Okay, now I'm gonna actually target weld the most obvious things. So I'm actually gonna start target welding. Let's do that. Just do that. I'm gonna actually run a loop over here. Gonna try to, you know, match stuff up. And remember, since this is a low poly, we can actually use triangles and all this kind of fancy stuff. So we're not really forced to use you know, clean stuff like what's called, like quads and clean n-gons. You know, it can actually be a bit messier, but not as messy. So keep that in mind. You can use triangles and all this stuff if that helps. So just as a friendly reminder. So let's go ahead and run a loop over here as well, and here as well. I'm gonna actually connect this to that. Just a second, like this and like this. And now I'm actually gonna try to match it. So I'm actually gonna get rid of that. Well, let me actually just first target weld this to that, and I'm actually gonna get rid of that line of loop over here. I'm gonna connect it to here. Gonna get rid of the extra vert, and do the same pretty much here as well. Like this, and connect this bottom weld with this one and this one, and now I'm gonna actually just go ahead and do the same here as well. So connect this with this and this with that, and yes, that's pretty much, or main body done. I'm going to actually give it a safe weld, and I'm going to look for any extra verts that have been created, like here, here. So just quickly get rid of them. Yeah, that looks good. And let me just go ahead and use symmetry. So I'm actually going to start using symmetry over here, and just going to collapse the shape like so. Just a second, I'm going to open the door and back in a minute. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to actually just unhide all, get rid of the cylinders over here. I'm not sure where they come from. Okay, no idea where they're coming from, but let's just get rid of them. And now just select the newly created cylinder. Go to the let's say go to the left viewport and just drag out the shape to here. Alright, so now you want to actually just go ahead and scale it down. Get rid of turbo smooth. And just select the opposite faces like this. So we have all quads, and now I actually want to chamfer this. So I'm gonna look for a good chamfer. Let's say 2 or 3. Okay, that looks good. That's pretty close, so let's keep it like this, and over here as well. So go to the front viewport, select the border, just start dragging it out. Okay, something like this would do. Scale it inwards and then out. And just select the opposite faces, edges, and cap. Now I'm actually really lazy, so now I'm actually gonna do it, man. So, chamfer that. Looks good to me, and I'm gonna actually do the same over here as well. So go to front. Wait, where's front? Over here. Take it out to the very last edge, scale it in like this, and now just move it out, scale it inwards, and cap it off like this. Now this is pretty much done. I'm going to actually give it a chamfer. So chamfer it like this. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the chain. I'm going to actually collapse, get rid of turbo smooth, collapse this, and then get rid of that and that one. Okay. And I also want to get rid of that one and that. And I want to just keep this one. Just gonna move it over there. I'm gonna actually get rid of all the chains except for one. So like this. I'm gonna move it down. Okay, so I'm going to actually get rid of all the bolts as well, except for one for each group. So first of all, I'm going to actually just decrease the chamfer amount so it looks sharper. Like this, looks good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually get rid of turbo smooth and this chamfer. I'm going to actually select all except one, like I said, here as well. One for each group, so something like this. It's pretty good. Okay, now I'm actually gonna get rid of the caps first. You know, these over here that are not visible, like this. And just a second, I'm gonna actually connect the verts. Like this. Okay, so we pretty much did the low poly for these ones already now. So I'm gonna actually just take the shape again and just go ahead with it. So just gonna scale it out to here. That's not quite right. Scale it out a bit more. Okay. Now move it. Just get it out a bit more. And move it upwards like this. Scale it out. Try to make it match, and then just go ahead and try to replicate the shape. See, that's overlapping too much, so get it back in. Just a bit more. Actually, just leave it that way then. But let's see how it looks turbo smooth. Move it up. Okay, select all of it, scale it out a bit like this, and then just move it in. I'm noticing something odd, so I'm gonna make it plainer because apparently the faces weren't plainer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fix it. Like so. Okay. Now I'm actually gonna just scale it in. That's good enough. Now I'm actually just going to go ahead and scale it in like this, and just follow the silhouette. So something like this will do. This is good enough. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm actually just going to go ahead and move it up to over here. Scale it out like this. Now just simply scale it in. So as you can see, I'm pretty much using the same tools over and over again, but a lot of people still need some explaining, and they don't like it when I don't narrate stuff, so I'm actually trying to narrate everything. Okay, so the main body is done. No, it's not done. We need the bottom one as well. But the crown is done, so that's good. Is that something to celebrate? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just go ahead and do it really quickly. So let's go ahead like this, down, scale it out, move it down, out like this. Okay, so I think we have the body done. So just deselect the opposite edges and just cap it to create a quad cap. Okay, so hide unselected. This is pretty much the low poly body. Now we can actually go ahead and see the information. So go to triangle count, total plus selection, apply. So now we can actually see how much triangles it has. So this piece here has 2K itself. So that's pretty alright. And I'm going to actually just go ahead and hide unselected or unhide all. And remember that we, got. Alright, let me just get this hide selection done. So hide selection. Now remember when we detached the bodies, so I'm just going to quickly attach them again and just quickly run a weld to them so they're one piece again. Okay. Yep, and I'm gonna hide selection again because we don't need it anymore. So hide selection. Where are these coming from? I have no idea. Hide selection. And these are the pieces that are left. I'm going to start with the simplest one. So just go ahead and get rid of that. Go ahead and get rid of these support loops. Over here as well. Good. So now I'm just going to actually take target weld, start doing my magic. So just go ahead and start target welding. Let me get rid of that. So just double clicking, getting rid of that. Same here, and here as well. So it's pretty much the same process over and over again. So nothing really fancy. Okay, move it over here, this to that. Okay, okay, okay. So pretty much target welded to the corners. Okay, that's not looking good, so I'm actually going to try to make a compromise. What about here? I'm going to actually move it to here. This to here. So just go ahead and do so as well. So now we can actually do. That's good enough. Delete. And I want to connect this one quickly. Okay, that's good enough. So I'm just gonna give it a weld to just make sure everything is alright. I'm just gonna leave it like that now. So this one actually is pretty tricky, because I'm actually thinking whether to give it more segments or just to leave it blocky like this. So I'm just gonna give it to a bit more segments. So I'm just gonna collapse the Turbo Smooth at 1 and just get rid of these. Now it's all done. Pretty much all done. Oops. Oh, and Control Z is for going back, but I think you already know that. Okay, so I actually want to get rid of every second one, maybe even more than every second one. Okay, no, that's actually not good, so let's keep this one. Okay, I like that, so I'm just going to keep it like this, and like this. Turn it into a hard mesh. And for the chain, I'm actually going to delete Turbo Smooth, obviously, and I'm going to actually select every second one, and like this. I'm going to get rid of that, and now I'm going to get rid of every second one over here. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do. Because the chain is so simple and so small that it's not worth it giving it a lot of geometry. So actually we can get rid of that, I believe. Let's see how much change it does to the shape. Not a whole lot, so I'm just gonna get rid of that. Okay. And now the bolts. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to get tighter chamfer. I'm going to get rid of the editable poly. And actually connected. Get rid of the back caps of all of them. Like this. And yep, that's pretty much it for the bolts. Let's see if we missed anything. Unhide all now. I want you to get rid of the stuff we don't need. So this one is okay. Alright as well. So actually that's all low poly. And the chain, I'm just gonna quickly move it to there. Just gonna move it out. And let's check it out. Now at the moment it's at 2.7 K trees. I'm gonna actually assume that I will end up with like 3.5 K trees most. So it's pretty alright in my opinion. I could go lower by getting rid of some stuff. But I don't really want jaggedness in my normal map, so I'm not gonna actually get rid of them. So I'm just gonna keep it like that for now. Alright, so that's pretty much the low poly of our fire hydrant, and I will see you in the next video where I'm going to do the UV unwrap. It's gonna be a really fun part. And after the UV unwrap, we're going to bake it down. And after the baking, we're going to texture it inside Quixel. And I might be doing an extra video where I'll show you how to make a proper presentation. But I'm not quite sure about that. So for now, I'm just going to say goodbye. And I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. And I'll see you next time.